Just like Nikocado Avocado, I'm going to record this again. Every time I raise my voice, the thing breaks, and I had it closer to my face and it was breaking a lot, so that's bad. Anyway, welcome to the video. The video is about a man, myself, my family, and let's get into it. I met a man while I was homeless and I was going to the Red Cross, and I saw him in the Red Cross for a little less than a week, and this is how it was going for him in the Red Cross, is that he was starting to get very antsy in his pantsy, and it was because of whatever. He had some passion going for this one lady, and it wasn't too well reciprocated, and then other staff were getting upset with him, and this kind of judgmental being upset was rubbing up on him a lot. And so the first time I meet him and I point at him and say, hey, that's the guy that speaks English, because everyone was speaking Spanish, he comes up to me like he's gonna break my hand, break my fingers and stuff. And he tells me later, it's like, oh yeah, it's just the Red Cross, and you know, they're rubbing off on me. And I'm like, okay, cool, you know, that kind of makes sense, you know, hang around a place enough, you become what you hang around, whatever. And so I messaged him later, because my brother won't shut up messaging me about a job, and I don't want to see my brother, I don't want to see my family. My boundaries are, I don't get near you guys, you know, you guys are no good. I spent 3 years with you guys, and I almost died, and I spent 3 months in hospital from that, and a year being critically ill. So no, you guys just bring me to death, I'm not interested. But because I got this new guy who was interesting on the outside, he's bearded and tall and cool and strong and all this stuff, so you know, and he was very friendly with me. That's the point, is that he was telling me, look David, when I met you, you know, you had this light spirit about you, and suddenly I'm just light as well, and it's really cool. I'm like, yeah, you would come here, you hang around, maybe you thought it was a really bad world, and you know, I gave you some inspiration because of the strength of the light that was within me that I was shining. Sure, you know, I thought that was fine, normal, cool, whatever. And so we integrate with my family, we do some work there. I start mentioning like narcissism and stuff to my brother, and it's just cold, stone, nothing. I'm like, okay, this isn't going to go anywhere. This isn't a time of awareness and waking up and listening. This is a time of, you know, and I've spoken about this time in other videos. This is the time of getting you comfy, so that we're then going to give you an ultimatum where you submit to the system or don't. We basically want you back into the system. We want you back as the scapegoat. We want you back as the one that takes all of our trauma and all of our resentments and all of our problems, and you are the blame for that. That's what we need from you. And so it was just an indoctrination into that. But I had this friend along with me the whole time to observe it, and I was hoping that this friend was just like me, and could observe all these things, and then we could discuss it and reinforce our abilities to confront evil in the world, right? However, this man doesn't know Jesus. He's a pagan and a drinker and all this stuff, you know, and that's fine, that's workable. You know, I was a pagan too, and I was an atheist, and you know, I've been into the drug stuff, so I thought this was all workable, fine. And so a month passes, and my brother is really, you know, not liking how I'm me and not who he needs me to be for the family. You know, he's being provided for by my dad. My sister's being provided for by my parents too. They're all so totally dependent on this system, and it's a tragic system full of abuse and psychopathy and rudeness and brutality and lack of emotions and lack of connection and neglect and discard and it's a brutal system, but they're dependent on it. They get their stuff from it. I'm not here to judge them on that, right? I just don't want a part of it. And so they're getting upset that I don't want a part of it. I don't want a part of it. I don't want a part of it. So they kick me out, and I leave with the guy. Interestingly enough, and then we come back with him. You know, we're invited back because my brother has both of our contacts. It's like, and you know, and he's calling me 6, 7, 8, 9 times, 10 times, like so concerned that he's going to lose me, right? Anyway, we come back, and eventually, we start smoking weed and stuff, and I have a huge anxiety attack. I'm throwing up all over the place. I go to the hospital, and in that time, my brother takes my friend, and I'm put with my wife. My wife, who is a horrendous abuser, narcissist, and after a week of that, I had to leave, and so I'm back on the street, and he's integrated with them. And it's okay. I don't really talk to him. He's doing his thing. I think I see him once with another friend for a little bit. And then even at that time, my brother tries to take the other friend. I'm like, no, you've got one friend. of mine, okay? This needs to be an experiment where I see what you do with one friend. You can't be taking two now, okay? Anyway, that's an aside. That's foreshadowing. But essentially, suddenly, I'm making some videos on YouTube, and like, you know, I'm talking with him, and he's being all fine and chatty and gleeful, like when I met him, reflecting the light that I gave. And then suddenly, like, some cracks start to show. His face drops a few times, his mask drops a few times, and he starts like messaging these really strange things on my YouTube, like, you'll never be me, and you want to be me, and you are an idiot, and this and that. I'm like, that's odd. And then he's like, oh, you delete everything that you ever put on me. Okay, that's curious. And then he starts deleting me and blocking me on every single social media. I'm like, okay, that's strange. And then on Facebook and on email, he comes as a woman, right, and starts saying all the horrible things that my family says about me. You know, dumping all that trauma. You're a bad Christian. You're a narcissist. You're a I don't, you know, whatever. You know, it freaking glazes me over just going over them. But you know, you're bad with money. You use all your money for drugs. You know, you do all this stuff, and it's like, okay, so now I'm not interacting with this guy anymore. But he's taken himself, or taken what I've known of him out of it. He's approaching me as a woman, and this woman is very pissy and pissed off, and is a representative of my family. My family, who is a narcissistic like unit, who has a super self that they worship, which dictates all the rights and wrongs, and it's a covert system. They try and be covert as possible because they believe that's the more adaptive system, which I'd evaluate it is. And I was a part of that system a very, very long time, and I have been trained to enable that system, to emulate that system, and I am training myself out of it through setting up boundaries and through knowledge and awareness, through investigation and stuff. And God really is the one who is organizing all of that. He is bringing the people, bringing the situations, and like step by step showing me how this operates. Right now that I'm not, anyway. So he's smearing me, and it's really weird, right? And then I see him, and he's walking by my house, and I go, hey, what's up? And he's like, hello, sir, and he walks off, you know, whatever. Hey, sir, whatever. I see him again today, and I sit next to him for 10 minutes, and I realize there is nothing here. There's nothing there. It's not a inner child. It's not a light that. Yeah, there's nothing, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is a narcissist that I'm dealing with, and I realized, dang, from the beginning, from the get-go, he was reflecting my light. He as nothingness, right? He is a mirror in nothingness. Here I come. Oh, and I see myself. I fall in love with myself, and now, you know, he gets the benefits of, you know, of being with me. I get the benefits of being with him. We got this thing going here. So what happened was, now I go out the picture, right? And my family's there, and so okay, he gets the benefits of the family. He starts reflecting the family. Reflecting the family means he has to abuse me, and he can't reflect my light anymore. But I'm not trying to promote a narcissistic system. I'm not part of that. As much as I am part of it, literally by blood, by my second name, by my training, by my intuitions, and by my freaking reactions, I'm very much a part of that system, right? But my spirit, my heart, my God, my personage isn't. And so I'm not consciously or willingly seeking narcissistic enablers that would enable my falling in love with myself, my narcissistic side, right? No, not interested in that. So him reflecting my parents, reflecting my family, abusing me, means he can't reflect me, and that has helped me to see that he is doing reflections, and it's curious. He is aligned with nothing because there's nothing there, and it's weird and difficult and interesting to say that, but you go to him and there's nothing there. There is nothing. There's no personage there. There's nothing. And not just nothing, but there's fear. You know, when I met him, he got kicked out of Red Cross because he was being incredibly loud and being incredibly outspoken. And that doesn't really show the strongest man in the room. That shows the most like terrified person in the room. That's terror, right? And you know, you just you learn with your testosterone and with your time to translate that into this is not fair or whatever. You know, like the quiet man is largely the most dangerous, right? The loudest man is generally not the most dangerous. And so he's got this fear and terror in him since the day I met him. Since I met him, he has been reflecting me. He's reflected my family. Now I don't know who he's reflecting. He doesn't really speak anymore. When he's more him than ever, which is just nothing. Which is like strange and tragic. But as long as he will not openly and willingly have a relationship with Jesus Christ, which is the true everything, I don't see how that can change with him. And so I just wanted to recount this history and wonder if you guys have had similar, because I've made videos about anti-narcissistic narcissists, and you know, this one fits the bill. He would sit outside and put like narcissism videos on while we were half living together, half living with my parents' place, and it's like, it seems really like deep and malevolent. But if narcissism was in my head and he was doing his job of reflecting me, of essentially being like my whore, right? Then that's like what's going on. And I hate fornication and I hate whoredom, and I don't want it. I don't want to be a part of that. And it's so curious that we find people that enable that, and I'm trained to as well. It's freaky. I'm just more interested in finding real people, and being a real person. Like I did a, you know, so to have this like counterbalance, there was this like schizoid friend that I knew at the time, and you know, and he admittedly has some narcissistic traits, but they're not really too astounding. But he has been like this counterbalance throughout the whole thing. And I remember when we met, he was having like huge anxiety attacks when I was with this narcissist guy. You know, his name's Calvin. I was with Calvin and this other guy, Adrian. And when we first met all together, Adrian was having like huge panic attacks, and I realized that, like, you know, a few times, it was like a character that we were doing between myself and Calvin, right? And then there was these times where he was like dressing himself up and getting really prepared to meet my family, like he was going to be a new familiar for a vampire. And then this one time we were getting food from people because we were struggling, and he was just jumping around like a character, like, oh hey, yeah, boo. And I realized that is the like happy-go-lucky spirit of my family, which somehow had gotten in with the reflection. You know, I thought it was a character he was doing. I barely know anymore, you know, the intricacies of it. I don't think it is for me to know, but I think for me to understand this general dynamic of how you can fall in love with an image of yourself, with a reflection of yourself, and this can come from the narcissist and will come from the narcissist. They will reflect every single thing, all of you, and it's something to look out for. I believe it's like the first sign where you're about to, you know, this is what possibly is the love bombing, possibly. Because hey, you know, your best self would love you lots, is very kind to you. Generally, you're very forgiving to yourself. You're very loving to yourself. You clothe yourself. You feed yourself. And so then when you're love bombed, it's like, hey, that's how I would treat me, and yeah, I love that. I love how I treat myself or whatever. don't know, I see it more as mirroring, because the same happened with my wife. She was mirroring me, and I thought that was her, but it wasn't, it was just me. And so I fell in love with that, and this was very similar. So I think this is all to show me what to look out for, to be careful, to observe, do tests essentially, take your time, don't rush into things, and to not go on your like relaxed, general, rote integration with people, but to really take things step by step and really press in. That's about all I got for that. Thank you for tuning in. If you've watched all this, that's pretty intense. I hope you have a lovely day. I'm just waiting until this gets to 16 minutes. Then I'm going to upload it. Bye bye.